a while back, or if you're 2/3 of my sons, you'd say a while back ago. Anyway, a while back, a friend of mine and I were talking about some changes that God has made in my life recently concerning my career and some other midlife changes. And he said 3 words that resonated with me: seed, time, harvest. I want to talk to you today about those 3 words and their implications for me during this time of reset and transformation, and relate them to one of my favorite songs. Let's get started. Are you in a new season of your life? Are you stuck and searching for clarity so you can make a career change? Do you just need the courage to switch careers? Are you ready to follow God's plan for your career? Welcome to Choose Your Next Yes. Hi, Kindred. I'm Mel, a career transition coach, mom of grown-ups, coffee lover, and God girl. I've had a lot of big life changes, and I haven't always been clear about God's plan for me. This led to stress and anxiety and a lack of clarity and courage to make a career move. I finally started listening to God's voice to find clarity and peace, and stopped being scared to make a move and achieve my career transition goals. Now, my mission is to help you learn to listen to God's voice and know when to say yes to the career you've always wanted and no to everything else. Let me show you how to clarify your purpose and find courage to pursue your personal and professional goals in your midlife and beyond. Throw down your self-doubt, dust off your dreams, Kindred. It's time to reset and refine and reclaim the woman you once aspired to be. I was listening to worship songs one day while cooking breakfast, and one of my favorite songs that I listen to often, it's called New Wine by Hillsong, came on. And God spoke to me through the song and opened my heart to the fact that we have to go through a time of change to be who He created us to be. And the verses go like this: in the crushing, in the pressing, you are making new wine. In the soil I now surrender, you are breaking new ground. So I yield to you and to your careful hand. When I trust you, I don't need to understand. Make me your vessel. Make me an offering. Make me whatever you want me to be. I came here with nothing, but all you have given me. Jesus, bring new wine out of me. And of course, I'll have the link to that whole entire song. It's beautiful. I encourage you to listen to it. But let's get back to the message. So grapes go through a process of crushing and pressing to become something amazing. While grapes are perfect the way that God made them, they become something new and different under pressure when they have no choice but to yield their current form and become a new wine. And at this time right now, you may be going through pressing and crushing to see what God can pour out of you. He is crushing all the doubt, the fear, the anxiety, the stagnation, and the excuses from you and turning you into His vessel. You don't have a choice. He didn't bring you here at this time to let you not finish what He started. That is, not Him stopping you, but you stopping yourself. You've heard the saying, get out of your own way. Well, love, get out of your own way. You are what's holding you back. I had some time not too long ago of distance from God, and it was a very dry season in my life. It was my fault entirely, and I didn't feel worthy of being in His presence or even being able to talk to Him at that time. I did, but it was full of shame and sadness because I had lost the best relationship I had ever had with Him. And let me tell you, if you think you are strong with God, so strong that you cannot be touched by the enemy, you are wrong. Satan waits for you to be at your strongest with God because that's when you are the most vulnerable. That's when you let your guard down, and that's when he attacks. The enemy isn't keeping an eye on people who are far away from God. He already has those people where he wants them. He's on the prowl for those of us who have strong faith because he wants to win us back to him. So stay strong, but check yourself. I let my guard down and he attacked and he won for a brief period of time. And during that time, and for a long time after, I had not heard God's voice. I didn't feel him anymore. He had stepped back. He gave me some space to get myself back where I needed to be. And when I heard his voice clearly for the first time in a long time, it felt so good. And he wanted me to share with you. That's one of the times that I heard him the strongest is when I was listening to that song. And he wanted me to share with you today to give you encouragement and say that even when you're under the most pressure in the next few days, months, weeks, whatever it is, when you're seeking his plan for you, that's when you need to cling to him the most, get support from other people, and know that at the end of this journey, we're all going to be in a beautiful place and we're going to be new, flavorful wine in a brand new wineskin with renewed confidence and drive toward our passions and what he created us to be, what he created you to be. And the enemy is going to try very hard to get in the way. He already started with me during some different times in my life, and he started by little things, just like disrupting my normal schedule and piling several things on my plate so that I wasn't able to focus. But he isn't going to win because God foresees what he's doing, and God makes a way for us to be successful, even if the enemy gets in the way. We just have to recognize it, and we have to lean into God. So I told you that 3 of the words were seed, time, and harvest. But I also added another couple of words, which is crushing and pressing. So I'm going to talk to you about those 4 things, those 4 points that I really want to hit on today, because winemaking has several steps, and I'm going to relate those steps to how God is working right now in my career transition and how he works in different seasons of our life. So number 1, seed. God has planted those seeds, which are your seeds of talent, your seeds of the gifts. He's also planted seeds of ideas in your head that he wants you to cultivate. Maybe not right at this minute, but he's giving you that opportunity to really think about those. And he's given you seeds of interest and passions. So all of those seeds that he's planting are going to grow into something beautiful when the time is right. And speaking of time, which is point number 2, you need this time to let those ideas germinate and grow and take form. He wants you to let those desires grow, because there may not be strong enough right at that moment for you to take action. But once he's planted those seeds, then you will let those germinate, and eventually you'll get to that place where you really just know it's time to reap that harvest. He maybe has a time of learning and preparing you while you're waiting. Maybe you need to take some courses. Maybe you need to learn some things. But he also wants you to take time to trust him while he's working during this time, because he knows what's ahead and he may not need you to forge ahead just yet. So be patient in what he's preparing for you and just trust that he is working for your good. Even if this is a time of silence on his end, he has not forgotten you and he's not stepped out of your way. He's just preparing the way for you. And when the time is right, point number 3 is that you will have a harvest that is more bountiful than you could ever imagine. You'll be able to try out all of those ideas. This podcast is one of those ideas that he planted in me a long time ago. A few years ago, I started my Empowered Educator podcast, but then he also planted a seed that he wanted me to do something more with podcasting, and this podcast right here is what it was. But it took a little while for that to germinate and to grow into something usable, something that I could get out there to you, because I needed to work on some ideas first. And then also my instructional design. I took a course and it took a little while for that to take hold. But when the time was right, he presented me with that as a side gig. And now that's going to probably be one of my main gigs very soon as school is over, actually. And then point number 4, the crushing and the pressing. I've already talked about your doubts, your fears, your stagnation, just not moving, not taking action. And when you don't, then things don't happen. And so my podcast maybe didn't take off as quickly as I wanted it to, but that wasn't necessarily because I was stagnant, but he had to work some things out of me first, some of that fear, some of that doubt. And he was preparing me and he was getting my mind prepared and ready. And as soon as school is out, I am able to devote 100% of my time to this podcast and to my instructional design job and to some other things that I'm doing for this podcast and for my brand. And it will be able to take off in a way that I wouldn't have been able to cultivate right now with school still in session. So let's just go back over things real quickly. Number 1, seed. He's planting those seeds. You're planting seeds. Make sure that you are noticing where they're being planted. Number 2, time. Let those seeds grow, germinate, and get ready to harvest what he has in store for you. And don't forget that during this crushing and pressing time that you may be going through, he is refining you and preparing you to be a beautiful new wine in a beautiful new wineskin. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's message. If you did, please hop on over to Apple Podcasts or Apple iTunes and leave me a 5-star rating and a review. That way I know that you are listening to the show and it helps me to grow the show. And be sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Sometimes I update my podcast art cover and just a couple things like that. And I think sometimes people aren't able to find me when I do some updating. So make sure you hit subscribe so you don't lose me. I hope that you are being blessed as you continue on your path toward everything that God has in store for your life. May the Lord bless and keep you. May his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift you up and give you peace. Have a great day and a great week, my friend.